Hello, this is Mike Farah from WindowsForum.com. In this video, I'm going to give you an update on what has been going on over the last month and how we've upgraded the website. Even though if you're a casual user that comes and goes on the site, you may not notice these changes, but I'd like to go over them in a way that's more hands-on for our users. Specifically, if you're watching this, you may be familiar with the site or you may just be visiting it. However, every month we do try to update the website, and I'm going to just give you a hands-on look at some of the things that we have changed. Now, if you are on the main page at windowsforum.com, you'll see that we have a new option called New Profile Posts, and this will basically tell you um, what is going on in people's profiles. Now, this is a back-end version of the forum software that is currently in beta, but this is actually quite useful if you want to go ahead and just browse what people are writing about on their profiles. And in fact, by writing on your own profile, you do have a certain amount of creative control. In fact, almost sort of a moderation capability that you would not have by writing in the forums themselves. Of course, the visibility of your profile has always been sort of limited to whether or not people want to click on your name or not. So that's something that's new, and that's just one area that we have something new. Now, if you want to talk about some feature changes, we do have some preliminary new features. These are things that we have actually had implemented before using vBulletin. Of course, we've switched over to Zenforo, and that happened quite a while ago. So you may, if you've only been on the site for a while, you may not be aware of the feature. But if you used it, you'll remember it. And this is something that's been brought back actually by the Zenforo development team. For example, let's go to a thread here. Now, normally if you wanted to quote something, you would hit reply, and the entire message would come up in bulletin board code in a quote box. So just say you would go, okay, right? And then you'd have, basically maybe you just want to respond to part of that. You would select that very precariously and, hit the delete button or what have you, or backspace. And you would select only a certain portion of what that person has written. And of course, if you wanted to do a multi-quote, well, we would, for example, Yuri here has written something interesting, and we would add that as a multi-quote, and then we would go, of course, to insert quote, right? So now this has been around for a while, this capability. But there is a problem. We could streamline that, and it has been streamlined. So just say, you know what, I think I like what Yuri is saying here. If that was your only administrator on the particular system, it will be very hard to restore these powers. You could use the built-in administrator to do that. All right. So let's just say we like what he wrote. We're not really paying attention to the context of this right now. This is just to demonstrate what's going on here. If we go ahead and hit reply, see, after we highlight this, a box comes up, we hit reply, and now we've just quoted what we selected. So this is much easier. And when we use the multi-quote system, it gets even better. So let's just say we like this from Yuri. I'm sorry here, my mouse is a little flim-flammy. Oof. Okay, so we can multi-quote that by hitting the multi-quote feature, and you'll see that it's activated there. And you can actually hit that to remove that. I disabled all of my permissions and unadmined myself. Let's just say we wanted to add that one. We would go again to plus quote. And of course, Randy, or I'm sorry, Trouble, his name is Randy, he's a great guy. We add his quote here, and now we have 3 quotes, right? Now, how do we handle these? All of a sudden, this button appears, and now we have, basically, we've selected different passages from each post, and this becomes more and more useful when a thread becomes very, very large and we want to respond only to certain facts and pieces of information. There may be anecdotal information that's not of value. And we can actually arrange, once we have these multi-quoted, we can actually arrange how we want them sorted. So maybe we want Randy's reply on top because that has the most important information. Based on how we were replying to this thread, we can do all sorts of stuff. So when we quote these messages, wow, there you go. They've come up now, and I can say, okay, I'll put the @ sign so it links to his name. Okay, Trouble. I read this article, and it sounds good. We can say, disabled all of my permissions and unadmin myself. This is an important fact to know. Now, of course, I wouldn't be writing responses like this, but I'm just demonstrating how this would work. And of course, when you go and hit reply, you're going to see something like this. Okay. Now, we have some new administrative features, and I'll show you how this works now. Just say I'm going to delete this post because, well, quite frankly, it makes absolutely no sense what I just wrote. It's a demonstration. So I'm going to hit delete. And this is something new that we have on our end for deletion. Reason for deletion is this is a demonstration, and I now can, as an administrator or a moderator on the website, if you are one, most likely you're not, but you'll see that we can now notify the author the reason that this has been done, because I am making a demonstrative YouTube video. So this is actually very important because when we do moderation, we want to let people know what's going on here. And of course, you'll see in my alerts, your post in the thread was deleted. Reason, because I am making a demonstrative YouTube video. Okay, so that's an alert that you'll see if someone deletes your post, usually for the most part. It's currently optional, but as this expands, these moderator options expand, you'll see more of that. Hopefully you won't, but people who have their stuff deleted will. And we take things very seriously with that. We try not to delete important content. In fact, it's one of our prerogatives not to do so unless it absolutely violates our terms of service, which you can find, of course, at the bottom of every page under terms and rules. So when we look at this, just say, here's another instance. We can now, instead of banning someone from the entire site for a certain amount of time because they violated our terms and rules, we are able, in fact, if they're misbehaving only on one thread, just say we have a very important thread about a brand new information that's come out, and it says maybe it's about Windows 9 or Windows 8.1 Update 2 or whatever this thing is that's coming out this month. Maybe we have something extremely important going on, okay? For example, we have a download thread for Windows 8.1 RTM, and this gives you some of the files, some of the checksums and the information. And maybe somebody just won't stop replying with useless sort of information, right? Maybe they're just trolling one thread. Well, now we have the option as moderators to actually go into a thread, and we can actually ban someone from replying to a thread. And almost all, this is something that we haven't discussed as to when and how we'll use it yet. We'll probably figure that out in an administrative or staff meeting that will also be posted online. But we're able to basically stop someone from posting to a thread, which is actually very useful, especially if the person doesn't deserve, a full website ban. Maybe they've just kind of gone bananas over one topic, and to reassert some control, give a cooldown period, we can, as moderators, say, hey, look, you're kind of going crazy here, and we need you to just calm it down a little bit, and in a couple days you can go back to posting, but you need to stay on track as far as the original posters what they were trying to get through here. So a lot of the things on our website are question related. And so, but there are some times where topics deviate and they go completely off topic. And so we're looking at that as one area where we can prevent having to ban people from the entire website, uh, depending on certain circumstances, you know. Now, we've also added additional hidden features that will prevent the proliferation of spam bots on the registration page, whether it's Google, Twitter, whether you're linking from Google, Twitter, or Facebook, or you're filling out the main form. We have additional tools that will help us identify spam bots, in a way such as only a non-human would fill out some elements of that registration page. And that's something new that we've just added recently, and I am anticipating that we will see much less spam. In fact, the majority of moderation tasks that are performed on the website outside of helping people or attempting to help them is in fact related to deleting spam. We have an enormous amount of spam that's trying to get through at all times. Most likely these are controlled by targeted spam bots that attempt to plug a certain website by creating fake conversations and all sorts of nonsense. So believe it or not, the majority of activity that we receive, if we were to disable all of our anti-spam protection and so forth and so on, we would have millions of people trying to access our central database through brute force hacking attempts, and we would have spam everywhere. Just say you didn't have to register a username and you could just post anonymously, which we did. We actually experimented with that back in 2005, 2006 under Vista forums. You would actually see nothing but spam. It would just be uncontrollable. There was a time when most of the spam is captured now, but there was a time, it's captured for review, but there was a time where it would just directly go into threads, and we'd have to go searching around for it and rely solely on user reports to remove it. It was those were dark days as far as what we were doing. It took a lot of time away from adding any sort of useful content, that is for sure. So we have some additional options with polling. Just say now I can add a poll and I can delete a poll. I can do this because I'm a moderator, but we have some additional options for polling. Maximum selectable responses unlimited, blah, 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 display votes publicly, allow the results to be viewed without voting. These are options that did not exist before with polls, and it's something that we're hoping the development of that may continue, and we'll see more of that coming up. But now you may have noticed that obviously new profile posts, we're able to search for those too, and we're able to filter things out. So for example, if I type in Windows Windows Vista, I'll type that in as a search option. Okay, now you're going to see a whole bunch of security updates, and these are mostly threads, but there is one post. Now, normally, as a moderator, I would not be able to look through the search results and perform moderation tasks, but I can now because I can separate threads from posts. For example, if I want to merge two threads, all of a sudden you'll see I hit that, and now I can, for example, merge these two posts if I so wanted to without much difficulty, or I can make them sticky or unsticky and so forth through the search feature itself. Now, if I want to go ahead and do that with posts, you'll see that there is one down here, and I'm able to do multi-select, and obviously I can go across pages and multi-select. Of course, I need to find another post to do that. Let's see. Yeah, so I would need to find another post to do that. But yeah, that is a preliminary, new feature, and we have that there. Now about the back end, you may be wondering, okay, what is going on? What is this guy talking about and why do I care? Well, this video has been designed for people who use our website a lot and also for new people who are interested in sort of how we're doing as far as trying to engage our members with features that may not be so clear cut, but they are there nonetheless. So a lot of this stuff I've just showed you, you wouldn't really know about it unless you started using the website, and that's where many of these updates are being targeted. We are looking to target um, basically what we call heavy users or heavy members, people that are on the site a lot or know how to use a forum and want extensive features, that aren't necessarily, we don't want to give a crazy number of features, but to make it very complex, but we want to make it so it's easier to get a message through, to get a message across. Now, we have updated this month for August 2014. We have the latest version of PHP. That is something that we normally do. I normally make sure that that's done on the back end every month for security reasons and also for performance reasons. We are using, and we have been for some time, and it's worked pretty flawlessly, MariaDB or MariaDB, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And I've had this discussion with quite a few people in real life, outside of the internet, so to speak, and occasionally you get a collective sigh because either they don't know about the software or they don't believe that the results are any better than MySQL. But basically, uh, MariaDB is a plug-in replacement for MySQL or MySQL, which is supposed to work a lot better and improve performance. And from what we've seen, it has. We had some problems running MySQL with Lightspeed Tech and obviously the Zenforo software. We had some problems with that as far as the headers and some cutoffs on the page. And by plopping in MariaDB, those problems went away. It's also important for me to note this month that we've upgraded the web server itself, Lightspeed Tech Enterprise Web Server, and we're not using Apache. We haven't been for quite a while because the rendering of pages is made much faster using Lightspeed Tech technology here. We are also using an enhanced search engine built into the website, so we can see a lot of information very quickly. We can index a lot of information extraordinarily quickly using Elasticsearch, and we don't have a slowdown from any use of the search engine. There could be heavy queries going on for the search engine, and everything is pretty much super fast here. Now, if you have any questions about MariaDB and the database itself and how this information is stored, it is my understanding that Google is also using MariaDB as a plug-in replacement for MySQL as well, MySQL as well. So, we're not alone here. Obviously, Google is a multinational corporation. We are a small number of geeks that have dedicated ourselves to doing this. But it's pretty interesting to see that this software, the LAMP software, is available to everyone for free. And the irony has been pointed out that yes, this is a Windows-based website, but we are using Linux to host the website. Well, that's just the reality of the situation. We can all walk and chew gum at the same time, and we're in a world where, that's the reality. We're not running IIS for this because, quite frankly, the development just isn't there with ASP, unless we wanted to code our own solution from scratch. It's just not there. So, looking at it, yes, a lot of these features that I have presented to you today, they're small. We had them with vBulletin at one time or the other through add-ons and some code modifications that even I wrote. But we're seeing this now with Zenforo as part of the operating system itself. Not the operating system, excuse me, as part of the forum software itself. And I am always working to improve the back end server resources, content delivery network, making sure that we have nodes all around the world and that people can access the website as quickly as possible. We're seeing a huge uptick when it comes to who is accessing the website and from where, how many pages are being indexed. We're seeing a big change there. And of course, we have just also this month, updates have been made to the API for mobile content. So if you want to use a cell phone to use this website, we have a dedicated application for Apple iOS, for Android, and for Kindle, which is also, it's the same APK as the Android APK, except it's being reviewed by Amazon or something. So there is a slowdown when distributing this stuff because these companies, Apple and Amazon, they review and look a little bit deeper at the software to make sure it's not, um, to make sure that their hands are all buttery, so that they make sure that they can, make sure that they have complete control over the application and that it's not, there's no problems. They want their toast buttered for them. So when we deliver it, the iOS version, for example, or when I deliver it, I have to wait for a review, and occasionally Apple will contact Microsoft and find out, hey, is this violating your trademarks or whatever. But I am a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, 7-time certified in Microsoft and information technology, and for 4 years now, I think it is, Microsoft MVP, and I've worked with various members of the community there, and we are on the side of rationality. And I fear the day that a forum like this can't exist, where you can talk about your software, in a non-partisan way. Everything is subjective when you look at the grand scheme of things, but we try to provide an objective platform where, someone can say, hey, look, I don't like Windows 8 for this reason, and someone can retort and say, you know what, hey, maybe you're right or maybe you're wrong, and here's why I think that is the case. We're not in, we're definitely not regurgitating stuff that's going on other websites. We're definitely not trying to do that. But thank you for watching this. Please make sure to visit us at windowsforum.com, and you can see and use some of these features for yourself. Again, this is Mike Farah signing off. Thanks for